This is Chemistry Chapter 1, Introduction to Chemistry, pages 10, 11 and 12. We have been discussing laboratory equipments before. We'll continue on to that. We have done up till to the Thystel funnel. Now we are starting the separating funnel. The separating funnel, as the name suggests, is used to separate two liquids which are mixed and are of different densities, यानी कि उनका weight अलग है. Now here in the example we have taken oil and water. Now we know that oil is lighter than water, it floats on the water. So what we do to separate a mixture of oil and water or any other liquids of different densities for that matter, put the mixture in the separating funnel. This is the separating funnel, this much. Open the stopcock, let the water flow down. When it comes to the level of oil, when the oil comes down over here, we just close the stopcock and the water is collected below in a funnel or a beaker, whatever you want to use, or a flask, and this oil is remaining in the separating funnel, which can be put in a separate vessel later. The next equipment is the china dish. China dish are just like the katoris we have in the kitchen. They are of different sizes, they are made of porcelain, and we keep the chemicals, but especially the powdered chemicals, in the china dishes. Other than the china dishes, we also have watch glass. The watch glass is used to observe the chemical reaction of small quantities of chemicals. Then mortar and pestle. Some of you might have these in your kitchens as well. It is just used to grind and crush the solid substances into a powder. Then we have the iron stand. The iron stand is of different designs. This is the standard which is used these days. On this platform, we keep the beaker or the flask or whatever vessel we want to use. This clamp stand here is used to hold a funnel or a test tube. It is adjustable in its size, in the width of its mouth, as well as its height is adjustable. The experiment which we saw earlier with the separating funnel being used, here it shows the iron stand right here. The flask is kept on the stand, on the platform of the stand. On this clamp, the separating funnel is fixed, and from here we can adjust the height of the funnel. After the iron stand, we have the tripod stand. Tripod stand gets its name because of the tripods, these three legs which it has. Now this holder on the top might be circular in shape, might be triangular in shape. Mostly we keep a burner down here, any substance which we want to heat in a beaker or a round bottomed flask on the top. Mostly a wire mesh is placed, or a wire gauze is placed on the platform, just like this. This is also the next one we have to cover, the wire gauze. So wire gauze is mostly used to keep the flask or the beaker on the tripod stand. Below, again I am repeating, we keep the burner. It could be a Bunsen burner or a spirit lamp, which we will be doing next. This is a spirit lamp. Now spirit is a substance, it is a liquid which we put in the lamp. It's like kerosene, like we have the kerosene stoves. You put the kerosene in the small storage area and use it to light the stove. Similarly, we keep the spirit. Spirit is combustible. It is used to make small fires or flames in the lab. You put the spirit in the spirit lamp over here, and this part is used to create the flame. Again, it is kept under a tripod stand to heat the substances. Now spirit lamps, other than the spirit lamps, the Bunsen burner is used in a lab. Bunsen burner is like the gas stoves which we use in the houses. It has a pipe which supplies the gas, and a burner which can be lit up as used. The advantage of a Bunsen burner over a spirit lamp is just that it can supply endless gas or the gas we require, but in the spirit lamp sometimes the gas gets the liquid gets finished and we have to refill it. It interferes with the experiment. Then the wire gauze we have discussed. Next is a reagent bottle. Reagent bottle is basically a glass bottle or might be a plastic bottle used to keep the chemicals in. The chemicals might be in powder form or a liquid form. The reagent bottle can be clear glass, brown glass, red glass. It may have a plastic cap instead of this glass cap like the normal bottles. In a lab, the reagent bottle has always to be labeled. It is always labeled to show the name of the chemical stored in it. Now the pipette is not very clear in the diagram, but it will be shown to you in the lab, so no worries. But the pipette is used as a dropper to pull the liquids out or pour the liquids in during the experiment. Next we have a burette. The burette is used just like a pipette, but it has a stopcock and it has measurable quantities to see the volume of the liquid, so we can add the liquid in controlled amount. A fixed volume of the liquid can be put. Next are the measuring cylinders. These are again used to measure the liquid chemicals. They are available in different measurements and different sizes in the lab. Gas jar. This is interesting. During the experiment, sometimes smoke, gases or vapors are released when things are being heated up. So a gas jar is used to collect those vapors, condense them and use them further or study them further. Mostly a gas jar, we cannot hold the gas jar above the experiment apparatus. So we used a beehive shelf like this one to hold the gas jar. Trough is like a very small tub of glass which is used to store the liquids or water. It is also used in the experiments which make use of gas jars. So these are the laboratory equipments which we were supposed to cover. Next we have the precautions to be taken in the chemistry lab. Now the chemistry lab, first of all, follow the guidance of the teacher. You have to follow the instructions given by the teacher. Use safety goggles. Sometimes the chemical may splatter on your face. To protect your eyes, you have to use safety goggles because these chemicals might harm your eyes and you may lose the eyesight also. Wear a lab coat to protect your clothing. The chemicals used in the lab might be corrosive. They might burn the clothes. They might burn holes in the clothes. So a lab coat should be worn to protect the clothing. Do not touch or taste any chemicals. The chemicals are harmful. They might damage the skin. They might burn the skin. And the chemicals are sure not to be tasted. Read the labels carefully. The labels on the reagent bottles in which the chemicals are stored should be read carefully so that you know what precautions have to be taken while handling certain chemicals. Use small quantities of chemicals. Using large quantity of chemicals might cause intense reactions. Heat might be produced, explosion may occur, so the chemicals should be used in small quantities so the reactions can be controlled. Wash the apparatus. The apparatus are all the equipment that you use during the experiment. So whatever test tubes, beakers, pipettes or flask or whatever things you have used during the experiment, that apparatus should be washed clearly after the experiment. Wash your hands after experiment. After doing the experiments, always wash your hands to make sure there is no residue chemical on your hands. Maintain discipline in the lab. Do not touch the things You might be talking and you might miss the instructions, you might do something careless, you might not handle the apparatus properly if you have missed any instructions or things. So maintaining discipline in the lab is very important.